Welcome to session 5 of our pre-marriage counseling. This is our last session pertaining to the purpose of marriage. And then after this session, our next sessions, we will begin to focus in on the practice of marriage. So we're going to take these this purpose and these principles of marriage that we've learned, and we're going to learn how to actually put some skin on them and put our feet to the pavement and really begin to practice and walk out all of these principles of marriage that we have learned in 5 sessions. In this session, I want to go back. I want to talk about soulmate, S-O-L-E, singular, one, and not soulmate. We discussed in our earlier session about it's not about finding the right person, but it's about becoming the right person. And we talked about that you could take the principles of marriage and apply it to any two individuals, and they could have a great, significant marriage, not based on finding the right person, but about becoming the right person. Because marriage is not some mythical, lifelong journey of finding the right one. And that's why we have so much divorce today, is because we have so many people that are simply trying to find this mythical person that they believe that God created or the universe created just for them and them alone. Their S-O-U-L mate, their soul mate. We've written songs about this idea that God created you just for me. And again, all of this sounds so wonderful. The idea smells incredibly clever, but trust me, it is severely undercooked in its meaning. And the Bible is not teaching us to find a soul, S-O-U-L mate. It's teaching us about how to become a soul mate, an S-O-L-E mate, a mate forever. It's about becoming the right person, not about finding the right person. And this idea of soulmate, S-O-U-L, it is so pervasive, and it permeates our culture and our churches so deeply. And the reason is it comes out of Greek mythology. It's very much an idea born in a pagan culture. And Plato wrote about a guy named Aristophanes who was separated from his female self, and therefore he was sentenced to searching for his missing self. Now, what's interesting about that is that the Greek gods had determined that they were going to, at this time, their people were were one person, kind of the idea of two becoming one. They were half male, half female, and that made them one. Again, much of where this idea of completion, not complementation, comes from. And so, in order to keep these people powerless, the Greek gods had developed this idea that they would split them in half, and therefore, because they were incomplete at that point in time, and they were missing part of who they were, that it would send them on a quest and keep them busy looking for their other half, their completion, and therefore these individuals would no longer be a threat to the gods. And so this very cruel act of the Greek gods is where we basically have derived the idea that there is a person out there who is going to complete us. There's a person out there that is our soulmate, reserved for us and us only. It is our counterpart. It is that missing piece of us that we're looking for. And again, this simply is not scriptural. The scripture does not teach that there's a missing counterpart that we must find to be complete. This idea may smell clever, but as I said earlier, it's severely undercooked in its meaning. It is an innovation. It is an invention of humans. It is not an invention of heaven. Scripture, however, does teach that in finding the right person, no, we're not finding the right person, right? In becoming the right person, and in becoming a soulmate, an S-O-L-E, Scripture teaches us to use wisdom, not destiny, to find our mate. Wisdom, not destiny, to find our mate. To find that soul mate, that S-O-L-E mate. Proverbs 31:10, a book of wisdom says, An excellent wife, who can find it? She's far more precious than jewels. So it's something difficult to find, no doubt. However, we find it through wisdom. We do not find it through destiny. And we're also not looking for a person specifically engineered for us. We are looking for that person who at the same time is not focusing on finding Mr. or Mrs. Right, but they're focused in on becoming Mr. or Mrs. Right. They are focused in on becoming a SOLE mate, not an SOUL mate. So, Scripture teaches that we should not seek a soulmate, but shape ourselves to be a soul mate, a person geared and engineered for marriage forever. Marriage is not about finding the right person, as we said earlier. It's about becoming the right person. So we use wisdom, not a wheel of fortune, to find our soulmate. And so, as we are coming to the end of this purpose of marriage, just a brief recap. These principles and purpose of marriage are going to be critical. They will be the very aspects of your relationship, if practiced, that will bring great significance to your marriage. As we said earlier, you can have great success without practicing these principles, without functioning inside of this purpose. But I promise you, as someone who's been married now 19 years, you will not find the significance. Much of what I have disclosed to you in these early sessions about the purpose were discovered the hard way. Were discovered through much trial and error. Was discovered through because of great ignorance that I had, because marriage simply was not working for me. It was difficult. It was drudgery. There was no delight. It was not something that I enjoyed whatsoever. There were moments and peaks of enjoyment, but and there were at times marginal success, but yet there never seemed to be significance. It never really delivered on what it had promised, or what my preconceived ideas were. And the reason is because my ideas were exactly preconceived. They were not rooted and grounded in the Scriptures, and therefore, when you don't understand its purpose, when you don't understand the reason for which a thing, for which a gift exists, then you'll never be able to fully appreciate it. You'll never be able to fully reap the benefits, or eat of its fruits, or taste the depth of the sweetness that is intended. And so it drove me back to the Scripture. It drove me to seek the Lord concerning the issue of marriage, and concerning how marriage is to work in my own life. And this also has led to be able to share with many couples such as yourself these principles in pre-marriage. And then what's really sad is to sit down with an equal number of couples in post-marriage counseling that were not as I was. We were just not given the privilege of understanding these prior to our marriage, and so we had to go through great struggle in order to arrive at these truths. But I will say this: in all the marriages that I performed, and all the pre-marriage counseling that I've done, those who have practiced these principles, not because I taught them, but simply because I'm a good plagiarist. I go to the Scripture and plagiarize the Scripture. And these individuals have taken these simple principles and understood this purpose, and have begun to apply it in their life. Divorce has not found its way into any of these relationships. While at the same time, many of those who discover these in post-marriage counseling, likewise, who have taken these and brought these into their marriage, have reaped the benefit of the reconciliation of a marriage that was on the brink of divorce, a marriage that was being destroyed. These truths are now repairing and deepening those marriages. I wish I had time to sit down and tell you all the stories of the marriages that I've been able to be a part of, that I've seen God restore through people being obedient to His truths. So trust me when I tell you, if there was a different way, I can guarantee you that I would have gone that way. If there was a better way, I would have gone a better way. This is not the easiest way, because it requires the death of the individual to themselves so that they may live for Christ and therefore live for the other person and perform their biblical responsibilities and roles and duties within the relationship. It is not easy, but I will promise you this, having experienced both sides of the coin, this is where the deep, abiding satisfaction and significance that your soul is looking for, this is where it abides. This is where the transformation that you're looking for abides. And so work these truths out in your heart and deep in your soul, and there will not be one day of regret for that.